been in the news lately, and where are we with that? And tell us what's been going on with that lately.
Kingdom Tower is extremely close to construction. In fact, technically it's under construction. They are doing soil testing. They're doing materials testing. They have signed up a foundation company to do the foundations. We are finished with the working drawings on everything below the first basement level, and we are well into working drawings in the tower. So it's phased construction. Obviously, you're starting at the bottom and work your way up. So the process is for the contractor to develop the building, to build the building in 63 months. So I don't know exactly when that 63-month time frame kicks off, whether it was in January when he was first involved, or whether it is this month.
Is a project of that size and that construction period necessarily design build? How much of this do you have finalized moving forward?
Right now, almost all the decisions are made. We are well into the documentation phase. There are always ways in which to change portions of this building before they're constructed, as we did on Burj Khalifa. But at the moment, we don't foresee any major changes to the design.
One of the features of this conference is the technical tours, and Jin Mao, which is near and dear to your heart, I know, is one of the buildings on the agenda. As we go through and look around, what should we be looking at?
Well, Jin Mao, when it was built and designed almost 20 years ago, and finished technically in 1998 and 1999, was significant because it was the first super tall building in China, and it was one of the by far the tallest buildings in China when it was built. And so we had to do almost everything to be self-sufficient. It has its own transformation vaults, transformer vaults, that it has its own system for purification of water. It has everything that you can think of that makes this building self-sufficient. The atrium is a unique expression of how the building is formed and built. The walls of the atrium form the rooms to the outside and the atrium to the inside. And that wall is the core wall of the building at the base of the building, and it's the core wall that continues up through the office space and then keeps going into the hotel space. But because the hotel core is so much smaller than the office core, it's hollowed, and it's allowed to be the negative space that forms the atrium. And then the walkways around that service the hotel are all cantilevered out from that. So that's kind of special.
The top of the building, I know, went through, I guess, a number of design permutations. I've been to the SOM offices, and I've seen some of the various design concepts. What was that process like, and what kind of designs did you come up with?
Okay, it was pretty simple. There was a initial concept design that we presented for the competition phase of the tower. We won the competition. Then, as we started getting involved into the design of the building, I thought that perhaps the top of the building was too distinct from the shaft of the building, and so I started looking at alternatives that would meld the two together more. And we ended up building roughly an 8-foot model, a presentation model of a new scheme. And once the model was finished, I didn't like it. brought it here, and I told the clients I thought it was the wrong direction. I wanted to go back to the competition scheme, and he concurred, and we did. So there really there were a lot of studies that we looked at and discarded. That's one that we looked at and didn't discard until we spent a significant amount of money on the model, and then found out that it wasn't really as good as the initial concept.
I think one of the most striking features of the top is when it's lit at night, kind of looks like the moon rising. Very a wonderful sight. What was going through your mind as you were thinking about lighting this building?
Well, our hope, and my hope, was that the entire building would have lighting on it, and that would be a more contiguous and continuous lighting event. I think personally at the top, the lighting at the top of the building is much brighter than I would like to see, or the lighting of the body and shaft of the building is more dim than I would like to see. I'd like to see more of a complete expression of building top and base, but albeit that's it's one of those things that you can't change later unless the client agrees to it, and I think they happen to like the top brighter. So,
well, there's always
that's
something. There's always something cooking on the showroom floor at Smith plus Gill. What else are you working on today?
We are working on a very exciting project in Seoul, Korea called the Dancing Dragons, which consists of two towers. One is a 450-meter tall tower. The other one is 380 meters or so. A 99-story building and a 77-story building. The function of these two towers is called a office tell. And what an office tell is it's a series of units that are equivalent to two-bedroom units that can either be used as a downtown office space, or a live-in office space, or a live-in apartment or condo space. Typically, these things are owned by someone outside of the developer. In other words, they'll sell these units to people, but then these people will be able to turn around and rent them out to people. Like, if Smith and Gill wanted to go to Seoul, Korea and start an office, we could rent out one of these 2 or 3 bedroom units, turn that into an office space for a period of time until we grew out of it. It's like an incubator space, but a high quality incubator space. And we think those two buildings are special because they have a relationship to one another. They share a common exterior skin. The exterior skin is like a scaled skin with we call it a breathable wall, where the space between the scales, that interstitial space, is the ventilation chamber. That's where the operable panels are within the mullion system. And so without affecting the exterior appearance of the glass by operable windows, we can slide these panels open to get our fresh air intake and exhaust, or fresh air for every unit.
Other projects?
Other projects, we've just been awarded a project in Chengdu, 460 meter tall office, hotel, and residential complex. We've won the competition, but we haven't really started on it yet. It should start shortly. The Wuhan Tower in Wuhan will be 600 and something meters tall, and that is almost finished with design development. We are starting a theater addition in Chicago for a theater company there, and that's just about ready to roll into its fundraising phase. We just finished a master plan in Chengdu for a satellite city of 150 150,000 people in a live-work environment. And the developer, I think, has taken control of the land now, or is close to that. And it looks like we're receiving requests for similar project types now in China and other areas, other cities.
And I know that if I ask you in 2 months, you're going to come up with another list of projects because
Right.
that's how fast things change. I want to thank you for dropping by and seeing
Okay.
this in Shanghai, and Adrian Smith will see you in Chicago.
Good.
Thank
Thank you.